I know. I'm trying to change my
Always
posture every now and then.
like I cross my legs, and it's kind of how I do it. You know, I feel like whatever angle looks good. Like, to be honest.
It's whatever the viewers want. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I would get
thousands of viewers.
A lot of crap from my wife. She was like, "Whatever the viewers want, huh? Really? Who are your viewers?
All 150 of them.
All right.
Sure. Now I'm proclaiming 1,000.
Hey, I don't even know where we're at right now, to be honest.
I don't know. I don't know if we hit 100 on the last pod. I know that the first two were over 100, so that's great. I know the last pod was a little bit more deeper, so
yeah, I don't even know.
People probably were scared to chime in on that one.
Yeah, well, because like there was a lot of feedback on that one saying how it was just like we looked a little bit like depressed.
I don't want to be depressed, guys.
Nah, neither do I.
No,
that's not the intention.
No,
though,
it wasn't
of
the intention.
pod.
It was just more of like we needed to have a good conversation about that, and those types of conversations are a little bit more harder to have when we are like smiling and being all joyful, like hey, let's talk about vulnerability or keeping busy as a Christian. I don't know. It's just it was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
Even with that sigh, bro. Like
I know. Okay. Well, first of all, welcome to Lions Amongst Men.
Welcome to the Lions Amongst Men podcast.
Kind of ranting. What is it?
Ranting.
We're just ranting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There's no
we wanted to start things off a little bit more on the on the uppity up. Bring our smiles back out there. We love y'all.
It's so awkward. Like that's the thing though. Like I still feel so weird being in front of a camera. Like I feel like the moment the camera's on, like my mind just goes blank. And I can't be like my full self either because it's like I'm not used to it. It's like it doesn't flow naturally for me yet. We're only on episode 4.
I know.
At the moment.
We are. Let's think about it like this, man. We got to think about it like we're back in the truck, in the work truck, and just how we have our normal conversations.
Yeah. Or even before that, I would say like back when we just randomly started to like FaceTime each other while working, because at first I was like, we didn't do it. Well, at least I didn't do it though because I was like, I'm school busing, right? So I'm working in a school bus, so I didn't want like the kids or like
illegally like on your phone.
I'm supposed to be on my phone.
I mean, to be honest, sorry, Mike, our boss. I am too, but it is what it is.
It's. I mean, half the drivers do it. To be honest, I mean. That's one of the great
as
things.
As long as we don't send this to like the president of the company.
No, gosh, I know. Well, we're careful. We didn't say where we work at, so they wouldn't even know.
Very true.
But I think one of the awesome things about commercial driving now, in comparison to like back in the day, like from like my uncle's a truck driver, right? He's been driving trucks for like 20 plus years. Yeah. Big rigs.
Man, I'm looking at how you're sitting, bro. Like you look super comfortable. I need to be a little bit more comfortable.
I'm just trying to get.
I know. You look good, bro. Jeez. I was walking up behind you. You smell good. Look good. Come on, bro.
Hey, bro. I had a long day today at work.
What time did you get out?
It wasn't too bad. I got back around 3-ish.
Oh, it's not too bad.
Or so. It's not too bad. I mean, for like 90 some stops that I did today, it wasn't too bad. But like
you killed it today, though.
Bro, literally like broke my back today. Doing today's
the word says
bro.
that we were gonna slave over. No, it didn't. It doesn't. It doesn't say that.
Hey, no, but as men though, we like low key. I mean, the word does say that we are gonna earn what we consume or eat
by the sweat of our brow.
Exactly. So it just kind of like
my brows were sweating. I'm just kidding.
If you're born a man, I'm sorry, but
yes.
That's kind of like what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
You have to
provide. I mean, I don't want to dig into what the rest of that verse says either about women, so
because that can get real, like
real touchy, real hard, real quick,
for a lot of people.
Yeah, no,
I know. I don't think we're there yet.
No, definitely not. But we are excited, man. Thank you all of our viewers for keeping up with us after every episode, and I'm gonna say this now: like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you. Thank you to all our friends who support us, all our viewers from all across the country.
I mean, that's what we hope for. I don't know. What we hope for. I have no idea. At first, it was like majority of people watching this are like close friends.
Yeah, Californians, friends. Yeah.
But like ultimately, we want to be able to reach out people beyond our church or like our close
very
friends
true.
group,
I mean,
like we want everyone to.
I go a little crazy as soon as the episode drops. I send text and DMs to like 50, 60
Hey,
people.
look, I love the fact
sorry
that you do
if
that,
you are getting my text.
But like I love that though, because it's like I'm more of the type where it's like, if I post something cool, I just leave it as it is.
I know you are.
You know, like
You're
I'm
really
not gonna market it. I'm not gonna be like, let me send it out, share it to like my tios, my tias, my cousins.
And not me, bro. I'm as soon as like
you like sharing it for the whole world.
I want everybody to see what we gotta say, and at the same time, I'm trying to be like, Jose, can I please share it with more people? Please please create a clip already, bro. Like, can we let the people know the episode is out there?
Because you get a little ahead of yourself though.
I do. I'm learning patience, guys. It's not easy.
Yeah. I know. Same.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm impatient on some, a lot of things.
Yeah.
But then there's times where I'm way too patient on.
I know. I feel like I gotta push you over the edge sometimes.
Yeah. Well, again, that's why I have there's a good balance of having friends like that.
Yeah.
We have someone who is.
You mellow me out. You mellow me out, and I know that I bring you up a little bit.
Yeah. That's true.
Which is nothing wrong with that, because like we need that in our lives.
We do. I know for a fact I needed that growing up.
Yeah.
Because I was very, very shy. Very, very shy growing up.
I would have never guessed. No, really, I would have never guessed that you was really shy.
Well, because I'm social. I think I've come a long way since then. But like in high school, I like super. What's another word for shy? It's like I mean, like
you kept to yourself.
I kept to myself, reserved. I want to say there's another word. If anyone can think about it,
leave it in the comments.
Yeah, but yeah, like I just like I was like the shy person that wasn't a weirdo. I tried my best not to be that.
The not shy weirdo.
Yeah, because there's
I don't even know if that's a
always
thing.
like, for example, like there's always that kid, right, in school who is like really quiet, but they're like low key a little bit off.
Yeah.
And like there's a joke of like that's a kid that you want to be nice to, because like you never know they're gonna come back and shoot up a school, things like that.
I was gonna say it, but I didn't know if I should. But you said it.
So I mean, because obviously we kind of grew up not so far as back as like the Columbine shootings, right?
Oh yeah,
when that happened,
those are bad times.
In like what was that, the late 90s, right? In like that was a high school shooting in the late 90s, right?
Yeah.
But we kind of saw it like in various schools throughout the years later on, just kids who, a lot of that was because they were being bullied.
Yeah.
And they'd come back and pretty much take their revenge, and
did you ever have to deal with bullies in school?
I did.
Towards yourself or like were you a bully?
No, I've never been a bully. Never been a bully. I like low key hate bullies, straight up. But I've never been one because of that. Because I was in middle school.
You were bullied.
I was bullied, because I was like the short fat kid, and it was like they're usually easy targets.
Yeah.
But high school is different. High school is I kept to myself though, and then like I think in high school I was trying to find like my place.
Yeah.
With like a group of friends or style. So for me it was like music and the music I was into.
Yeah.
And that's how I found like my little clique of people. And I wasn't so much bullied anymore, like I said, because I try to be somewhat social, not be like the weird kid. Like I was quiet, but I wasn't like a weirdo,
right?
Right. And I think after high school, early college, that changed for me. The moment I went to college, that I made the effort to be like, I gotta break out of my like shell, and I gotta socialize, and it helped a lot though too, because like once I was in college, I was exposed to different races.
Gotcha.
Because for a lot of people that don't know, I went to an all Latino charter high school.
Gotcha.
It was a small high school of like maybe 500 kids max.
Total within all the grades?
Yeah, totally within all the grades. You know, so it was a small high school, so everyone kind of knew each other, but they were all Latinos. You know, so I wasn't like, I mean, I've been around other cultures and races, but that was like elementary, middle school, high school. When you're an adult though, it's like at that age, I feel like as a teenager, it kind of shapes you.
Yeah.
Right. So starting college, I was back to being exposed to like a lot of races, cultures, ethnicities, all that. So I was able to meet a lot of people, and through that, I feel like I started breaking out of like my little shell of being so shy.
Gotcha.
You know, and maybe not in the best way either, because they weren't all Christian friends.
Gotcha.
You know, that's kind of like where I started getting crazy too. You know, when things I shouldn't have. You know.
Yeah, we'll dig into that. I think with me, I don't think I was ever the shy kid. I was always the church kid for sure. Growing up, we had our youth kids. Like, we had like a clique of youth kids that we always hung out together at school. Some of us branched into certain things, or some of us were artistic, or some of us played sports or whatever. But like, for example, we always met each other in the mornings, and we kind of just hung out in the same little corner before the bell rang, all of us from church. So yeah, that was kind of...
Was that because you came from a small town?
Yeah. So like, for example, I can't tell you exactly how many were in the school, but I know that like my graduating class of seniors was probably like 140 to 150 students.
Oh, that's fairly small, actually.
Yeah, so I come from a small town. I come from a really small town.
Because I mean, like I thought I graduated from a small high school, because the max, like the amount of students that graduated my senior year of high school was like maybe 70.
Well, that's smaller than mine.
Yeah, small, but like it's like most like from like my.
But you said
high school.
You were at a charter school.
Charter school.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not necessarily a continuation school, but it's like, I mean, I don't even know how to define it, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. I know that for me, we're gonna say something about your wife, but like for me, it was a public school. But like I'm telling you, my hometown was really small. And for my friends that listen to the pod, you guys know exactly where we came from and how small our town was and stuff like that. Like everybody knew each other, type of stuff. I don't remember where we were going with that. But as far as being shy, so I didn't grow up shy. I've always been very outgoing. And it's because I didn't grow up with family. Like all my family was a little bit farther, so like I grew up with my friends, and
that's true.
A lot of the people that I grew up with, I've called my brothers, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, and I only, not to forsake my own family because I have a huge family, but they all lived far. So like the people that I grew up with in my hometown, who I grew up with like from little kids, those are like my brothers. Those are like my their parents are like my aunts and uncles and like stuff like that. You know, people that took care of me as a little kid. Those are the people that I know that are the ones that I kind of like made my family. Yeah. You
have a lot of family friends.
Yes.
Yeah. It's I'm not like, for me, I'm not used to that because I've always had a big family to begin with. Like my dad has like 10 brothers and sisters. You know?
My mom has 13, 14, around there.
Brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
Wow. But
my grandma had 9, and then my grandfather had like 5 or 6 total too.
But is she close to all of them though?
She's definitely close to like 10 of them.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But did you grow up around that though? So
I grew up seeing them on vacations. So like my grandmother always ended up living like an hour and a half away, and then when we did like family vacations or family reunions or whatever, it was always at her house. Or when we went to Florida, it was like we would go see my grandpa and then my uncles that lived in Florida. Or when we go to like to Connecticut or New Jersey, whatever, is always to see family. So but whenever like family gatherings would be, it would always be at my grandma's house, and all the cousins would kind of get together. We'd all sleep in the same beds and on the same rooms and floors and stuff like that. So it was always like really big when it came to that. But as far as growing up with them, I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's so weird because I feel like I'm just like knowing this now. Like I don't think we've ever really sat down
and
to talk about like families. You know, because I know that like you have like a few cousins that you're close to, and like.
My cousins that are close to, I'm the ones that are like because we're like the only guy cousins. Like we're okay. So let me correct that. There's a lot of us as far as cousins that under my grandma. My grandma had 9 kids, and out of all of us, there's probably I don't know 20 to 30 grandkids.
Right.
You know, like 15, 20 great grandkids and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
As far as my guy cousins, myself from my mom, my 2 older uncles, they each had 1 son. So, and we're all really close in age. So, when we go, like if now that I'm an adult and I do like vacations and stuff like that, like I'll hook up with them. And I'm like, so when my one cousin came to visit me in, you know, a different state, I went to go to DC. And I stayed with my other cousins, like, but they're all the same. Like my cousins went with me. One of them went with me to Puerto Rico with Alex, our friend. So just like stuff like that. Those are the ones that I'm closest to. But I had girl cousins. I have a lot of girl cousins, and 4 of them specifically, we were really close because we were the closest one to my grandma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Yeah. It's weird how, like, even though, like, we're both Latinos, you know, and there's still cultural differences. Yeah. You know, somewhat. Like, still differences, you know. Some similarities, I think, amongst all Latinos that I feel like we can all share. But there is still some slight differences with that. I like, for me, though, like, I'm super close to, like, all my uncles and aunts, you know. I mean, growing up, it was like that. It was so normal to have like get-togethers like all the time.
Did they all live fairly close to each other?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, like I've only have a few that, like, if anything, like 2 or 3 that live in Mexico. You know.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I think it was because when they all decided to like migrate over here, you know, to the U.S. They were all kind of in the same boat, you know, so they all lived together at one point. Like, it was just they stuck close to each other because that's the way they were gonna like be able to get ahead. Yeah, you know. Yeah. Otherwise, having to come by yourself, not knowing anyone, having no family here in the U.S. would have been like difficult. Yeah. So I've always just like growing up with like a lot of my cousins. Always been very close to some of them, some more than others. Like my cousin Christian, who's like one of my best friends. And the rest of my cousins who I'm also really, really close to, right? So, definitely, like, that's interesting, you know, how just, like, similarities, but also, like, different, you know? But, I think going back to the whole shy thing, I think having such a big family like that and being so involved and seeing them all the time, like, I would say that for me helped a lot in terms of like how social I was. Gotcha. You know, because like if I would have probably like grown up with a really small family, like my wife, for example, who has like she only has like the one aunt. Yeah. You know, from her mom's side. Yeah. You know, and
like 2 uncles or something like that.
Yeah, and then like the one uncle from her dad's side, and that's it. Yeah. You know, like it's not a huge family. You know, they have family friends. Yeah. But even then, though, it's not like like a massive or like just like not a huge family, you know. So she's much more introvert, you know. Versus like I was too. I was at the beginning a whole lot, but I said like once I started college, like I really made the goal to like be as social as I could.
Yeah, no, I get that. With me, it's a little different because I grew up an only child. Okay, so I have siblings. They're on my dad's side. You know, they live in Puerto Rico with my dad. Right. But growing up, it was just me and my mom in our hometown. Like, we didn't have any family close by. Like, our family that was close by was like an hour and a half. Right. Until we got to see them. So it's funny because me and my mom were actually talking about how independent she raised me. In my hometown, you know, she raised me to be independent. And it's funny because she raised me so independent that she's like, man, you're so independent, you don't even need me. And I mean, I give props to her because it's just been me and her my entire life growing up. So I had to get close to the people around me, and that allowed me to not be shy, because I needed to fill a void in my heart.
Oh, that's interesting. Mm-hmm.
So for me, I needed to feel the void of not being alone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because because it was just me, and my mom was always working. She was providing for us. She was like signing me up for sports, or I was always connected in things in the church and things like that. But I think growing up, that was all like trying to fill that void of not being alone.
Not being alone.
Yeah. So like my closest friends back home, I call them my brothers and stuff like that. And it's funny because I would go to their house to hang out with their dad, even when they weren't there. You know, we were working on the cars or whatever. Oh, yeah, so like I always try to fill up the fatherly figures in my life. I try to like learn a lot from that. And I used to it's funny, I used to get mad at my friends. They're brothers. Right. They're my closest friends. They're, I think, 20 years, in the making. Right. Jonah and Onyx, I love you guys. You guys know who these stories, but I would go hang out with them, and I'd see their dad like a father figure to me, and he would correct it's funny because he would correct me like a father. But I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the people that I connected with, because I know that a lot of those influences and have made me who I am. And also adding to that, it's more of like seeing the examples of other people either made me who I am or made me decide, okay, I don't want to be that way. So like I took a lot of examples from others versus looking inward or whatever. So I don't know, I'm throwing a lot in that, but so like the feeling of not wanting to be alone, the feeling of who I am as a person, I'm throwing all that out there just to say that I am who I am because of the people that surrounded me growing up, as well as I'm very independent because of who my mom raised me to be. She raised me to be very independent, and so I didn't have a chance to be shy. Like as soon as we had a conversation with whoever it was, like, okay, you're automatically my friend, and we're gonna talk and we're gonna chop it up, and so that was the opposite of that's basically what I was trying to get at as far as everything I just said. It was more along the lines of like I wasn't shy growing up. I was very extrovert.
I mean, I know that about you since I met you.
And I'm still that way.
And it's for me, it's like the opposite, because like my closest friends were my cousins. I had people, not only that, but like I also went to school with a lot of my cousins. Like majority of the time I've been in since grade school, middle school, high school. Like I graduated with family. Gotcha. So I've always had them there, and even early college, I relied a lot on like my cousins because they were my closest friends. They were like my best friends,
Were some of your cousins also in college with you?
Yeah, they were. Okay. They even in college. Like we went to college together up until like I dropped out. But I think after I dropped out of college, is when I was like, okay, when I no longer had certain people in my life or like, to rely on, I felt like I was forced to be much more extrovert and social. But like I always had my like friends, like my cousin Christian, who he was that person in my life where he pushed me. Where kind of like you and I, where it's like I would mellow him out when he's being a little too intense, or vice versa, where I'm being a little too like just down. He would help me like bring me up,
Gotcha,
so it was always like a balance. So he definitely helped me like get much more social. Because he was like that kind of in the sense of he was much more social with people. He never really had an issue like talking to anyone. So I picked up on that. And I think like with who you hang out with, like you pick up things on them. Obviously, like I think
they're like influences. They influence your character and who you are and stuff like that. So it's like it's true what they say about be careful who your friends are, because then I'll tell you who you are, or type of stuff.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
also
true.
like be careful who's in your circle. You know, be careful who's in your
Sorry.
circle, because you know, you want to have positive influence in your life and stuff like that, and you want to have those people that kind of like mold you and shape you. You know, mellow you down when you're being too much, or bring you up when you're too mellow. You know what I mean? So like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that. I mean, I think my parents have always told me, like, growing up, to be careful with who are my friends. Just because the same thing too. It's like they used to have this saying in Spanish where it's like, "Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres."
I literally just said that in English.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I was just like,
he was thinking. He heard me say it, but he was thinking.
I'm thinking in Spanish for some reason, right?
Yeah.
So, like that, they would always tell me, you know, be careful with like who you hang out with. And obviously, like now, in terms of like our walk with, you know, with God, you know, I think of that verse now where it says, you know, bad company corrupts
good character,
good morals,
Mm-hmm.
good morals. So, because it's true,
mm-hmm.
It's true. You know, who you hang around with will ultimately somewhat shape you and influence you in everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you have friends that are like wilding out, going crazy, doing things, immoral things,
mm-hmm.
That's gonna rub off on you.
Yeah.
You know, whether you want to or not, though. You can't be like the one friend who's like a saint in a friend group. You know, you're gonna be influenced at one point. You know, by that.
Yeah, I mean that's if you are that friend, you're definitely trying to be the light in the darkness in that situation.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, if you are that one being a bad influence, like, you need to check yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
That was bad. I'm sorry. See, this is what I like. This pod in itself is going to be so weird because we're trying to keep it natural.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to mellow out too much too.
Yeah.
Or be like too intense. I'm not trying to be something I'm not either.
No, I think we're doing pretty good.
You know.
Yeah.
But shoot, I lost my train of thought. Right. Anyway,
influences.
Friends, yeah. Right. Like, it's like, you know, eventually, friends will shape you.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to who you are, and if you are that friend, you know, that's not necessarily like you said. It could also be like, if you are that friend, it could be a lack of something in your life.
Yeah,
you know, where it's like you didn't have a father figure, or you didn't have a mother figure, you know, or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's probably, you know.
Yeah, oh, that's good, man. It was definitely pretty good.
But just again, going back to just the whole shy thing and being reserved and whatnot, it's not I would say shy is not necessarily a bad thing, or being reserved. I think people should be a little more reserved before like being like just letting everything out.
Oh yeah.
And telling everything to like everyone.
Yeah, no,
you know,
definitely.
Your whole life story.
You definitely don't want to share everything with everybody, because everybody is not, how do I say this politely? It's like, not everybody is for you. As well as not everybody's against you. So it's just like, be careful who you talk to, because you don't know what their intentions are with the knowledge that they receive from you. If they're a genuine friend, I feel like that conversation will come a lot more easier than a person who just wants to get information out of you.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. So like, just be careful with who you tell people things.
Yeah, be careful you share your most personal, intimate details.
Yeah.
You know.
Not everybody needs to know everything.
No. And not everyone's trustworthy either.
Yeah.
You know, especially if they don't have good intentions.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you don't have good, because it's so easy to take advantage of someone. You know, in that sense, someone who is the one who is open, who's vulnerable, who likes to share, you know, all that. Like, it's I feel like someone that's like that, right away, is someone who can easily be taken advantage of.
Yeah. Like, you know? I mean, I'm just thinking about I'm thinking about myself in that kind of circumstance. Like, I do want to share things with certain people because I feel like I can be comfortable with them. but that's also bitten me in the butt in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also been one to not necessarily want to know every detail about somebody. Like sometimes in my head, I'm like, maybe I didn't need to know that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because you've learned from your experiences.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things where it's like, I am okay. So I have a different perspective on that.
Okay,
right?
Go ahead.
So
Share.
there is, for example, your spouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, being married. Like, I think there shouldn't be any secrets.
No, of course.
With your spouse,
Right.
I do think it's wise though that not every single little thing should be shared.
Okay.
You know, not that you're trying to keep secrets from your spouse, you know, but wise in the sense of like, will this
edify
my relationship or help it out or not?
Yeah.
And there's a difference between like if you're trying to keep a secret sin, something that you're doing that's wrong,
Yeah.
you know,
No, that's good.
versus something that is like I don't know, like for example, let's say you have a dark history, you know, and I don't know, you were in prison for some reason, right? You know, like something crazy like that,
Yeah,
right?
no,
You
for
could
sure.
say something as crazy as that. Like I think one of our pastors, they had a men's retreat, and they had a man that and one of the guys that were up there was sharing his testimony, and he had gone to prison, right? And he shared that he's like, I went to prison. I went, you know, because of he didn't say because of what though, but he was in prison for many years, you know, and he just said like. He shared with our pastor, he's like, it's not wise for me to share in detail like what I did,
Right.
you know, because one, like Christ already paid for that.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
he did the work for that. Like,
And that's good of him that he recognizes when is a good opportunity to share that level of testimony,
yeah,
and when not to. So
Yeah.
like he can, like, I'm glad that he's able to say, hey, I went to prison for such amount of time, and you know, I've overcome that. Obviously, that's why I'm here. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that there is people who I think need to hear the story, so they're kind of like.
So that was my other thing too. Like, if obviously with your spouse, if they can handle that, and you know that it'd be like, okay, like if they want, because sometimes people just want to know stuff, you know, and like I said, like not everything that you tell someone's wise. Like no one needs to know every little thing about your business, you know, especially when it's something that's like really dark and traumatic, you know, that would bring up memories.
Yeah.
You know, like there's just some stuff that doesn't have to be completely shared.
Yeah.
You know, you can generalize it.
Yeah.
You know, things that you've gone through or that you've done or whatever. But I'm sorry. I'm like
Trying to put your
trying to like put
I
my
think
thoughts
no
together.
I think about that too, because I think about your testimony, and I think about I know your testimony, and we've discussed it.
Okay, that right? Like we're going back to like what sharing with friends and
Right.
sharing, like, you know, not being wise with who you share with.
Right, and I was just about to say that, in the sense of like, I know your testimony because we've had those deep conversations, and we know each other's testimonies, livelihoods,
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also know that you don't share with everybody, because not everybody needs to know all those details about stuff that went down in your life.
Yeah.
But not to say that those things haven't created the person that is in front of me today. It's just more of like, in the right time, in the right moment, things will be shared to the people that need to be shared with.
Yeah.
With those substances. So it's just basically that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just being careful with like what you share with who you share it with, you know, and is it wise to completely share, like, you know, share every little thing. That's why I said, like, it's not necessarily like it's bad to be reserved or shy necessarily, you know, like I think keeping certain things to yourself is okay.
Yeah.
You know, versus like someone who tells the world every single little thing about their life, you know, the moment you meet them, you know, and it's just like, it's not wise, because you create some form of what's the word, image in someone's mind, or like someone views you a certain way because you've overshared.
Yeah.
It's like that. I think it's the oversharing. You know, you can share with people,
Yeah.
but the oversharing is like, is that wise?
Yeah.
You know, to do so.
Right.
And that kind of like leads me to the next question, like, because I feel like maybe some people want to know, like, well, how do you go from being shy, introvert, to being more extrovert? How do you open yourself up? How can you, like, what would be your way, since you're much more extrovert than have been most of your life, you know?
So the question being, how can an introvert become more extrovert?
Yeah, work on that. Being more social, talking to, you know, just kind of breaking out of their shell, taking little risks like that.
I think a lot of it has to do with your circle. You know what I mean? If you're in the right circle, your circle is gonna be able to recognize that they need to pull more out of you. Or they'll put you in situations that is gonna cause you to be a little bit more extrovert than you need to be, or not that you need to be, but it's like the situation at hand requires you to be more extroverted than you are. I think of it I think of your wife, because your wife is very introverted. But I also think of our friend group in these last couple of years, and we've had to pull a lot of that out of her in a good way, because you know, she was very to herself, she was very quiet and stuff like that. So like in our groups, we always used to get mad at her because when she would say bye, she would just walk away, and she would just dip. And it's just like, hey, say bye. It's okay.
She's definitely grown.
Oh yeah, of course,
like a whole lot since then.
Yeah.
But what if, like, for example, you don't have the luxury of having friends that are extroverts?
That's
tough,
what
if
man.
you're just very introvert, you're just very shy, you know, and you don't have people around you in your circle that can bring out that socialness.
Okay, to be completely honest, I don't know if I have the right answer for that. I'm just thinking of a person that happens to be shy, and I'm thinking about how nerve-wracking it can be.
Yeah, because I know, like, I know
to come out of
personally that would, like, get so much anxiety of having to go out of, like, their little world or their little bubble of where they're living at and to go do something, right? And I get that, because I understand what it is to be really shy, introverted, right? But it's possible. You know, I think even as socialized as I wouldn't call myself super social, but I can socialize. You know, I'm somewhat social. I'll talk to anyone, whatever. I don't have an issue with that.
Right.
But even when I first arrived to, like, for example, Thrive, now Home Church, right? When I first arrived, I didn't know anyone. Right. And that is nerve-wracking, you know, seeing how, like, there's a part of my introvertness, of me being shy, that, like, I really had to push through, you know, and it was...
I mean, you not that you were putting yourself out there, but you were taking steps of faith in order to... because at the time, I know that one of your prayers was like, Lord, I need friends.
Yes, it was like, I need friends, Lord, you know. But the big thing there for me was that I felt the Lord say to me was, I don't want you to rely on people to reach out to you. I want you to reach out to people, you know. You to go to be the one that, like, you know, asks for help. You to be the one that goes socialize. You to be the one that tries to get connected, and you be the one that, like, you know, go and ask if you can serve, you know. So I think a big part of that for me was having to get past my fears, and it was all about obedience.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're right, because I'm thinking about how I would... It's hard for an extrovert person to answer an introverted question like that, because I'm trying to think of everything logically, in the sense of, like, how I would be the one to do it, but I'm so extroverted in that sense that it's just like, okay, I'm not a shy person, and I know, because I already know the answer of what I would do in a situation. So for example, when I came to Thrive, now Home Church, I didn't mean to be connected so fast.
Right.
But it's who I am. That
it's your personality. Yeah.
It's my personality. It just happened.
Yeah,
You know, for example, like when I got there, nobody knew who I was. I knew a family there, and I connected with them, and I stayed with them until I started going to young adults, and then from young adults I started connecting, and then from connecting I got connected with Pastor Juan, who ended up, you know, getting me into the worship team. So then I was part of worship team, and then I was really like connected with young adults. So like I'm part of young adults. So that kind of just led me into just being connected with everybody, because at that time I didn't have a lot of people that I was connected to in that season of my life. So I just wanted to be connected to so many people.
Right.
Which I didn't start off that way, and it wasn't my intention. Like I always said, I didn't mean to get connected so fast or so hard or whatever. It was just more of like, kind of just flowed. It just kind of just happened because of that's who I am. So like for a person that happens to be very extroverted, it's hard, because I know for a fact that a shy person can come to, for example, to any church, can come to church Sunday after Sunday, and if they stay the way they are, nobody will ever know who they are.
Yeah, that's where, again, that's like where those who are extroverted, those who are much more social, and talkative, and aren't shy, that's where those who are the opposite of that rely on.
Yeah.
You know, they were those people who come in like being, you know, not really talking to anyone, just kept themselves in the back or whatever. They rely on those people to reach out to them.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise, like you said, like they could just get lost in a crowd, and no one will ever know who they are.
Yeah.
You know, because they're just not connect. They don't connect. They don't involve themselves in groups at church. They don't, you know, socialize. I mean, given the fact that there is a part of that is you could also somewhat blame that on the church if they don't have groups,
right?
Or
and luckily our pastor is huge on groups, so he's always pushing that. Because of the level of how our church has gotten. I mean, if you really think about it, the church has grown so much just in the last 2 years that it's just like the only way to really get connected is go to a group. You know what I mean? Because that's where you're gonna start connecting with people. That's where you're gonna start meeting people. From there, they know other people, and then like depending on your situation or depending on what it is that you want or need or whatever, like I'm sure that those people in the group are going to connect you to somebody that does know the answer to that. So like, it's like a spider web of things, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, it is. It's true. I mean,
excuse me, guys.
The way that you are going to get connected is through those outlets, you know, whether it's through a service, a ministry, a group at church. That's for sure. Like that's how we did it, you know, and it came easy to you because of your personality. You know, that it just came easy to like be able to socialize and meet and connect with people. But for those, for example, like me, where I'm just like, all right, like I had to push myself with that, and it was probably the best thing I could have done, you know, because it was something that I was able to get past. And I don't know, I just like, for me was a huge thing was just being obedient to God.
First and foremost, because I know that a lot of that had to do with my extrovertedness pulling it out of you. I remember I remember there was a time where I had already been connected for a while to like leaders and friends and stuff like that, and as soon as me and you started getting really close, I was like, hey, can I bring Jose?
I remember that.
There was a couple times I got you invited.
We would hang out with like the rest of some of the younger adults in church, and that's kind of how I got a little bit more acquainted with everyone else. But what also helped, I would say, what helped with that is that, again, for me, I try not to be awkward. Like, you know, when I meet someone, even if I am quiet at first, I try not to be awkward. I try to be as social as I can. So people felt comfortable around me. Because that's always been thinking. I like I said, I never want to be the weirdo. Not to say that you're not always gonna be that like charming, great person. Like everyone wants to be your friend in the crowd. Like you're not always gonna be that, right?
Right.
but you're gonna have some weird, awkward moments with people.
Right.
But at least for me, like, it's always been that thing where it's like, I try to be me without being awkward or weird or making anyone feel uncomfortable.
Yes, that's been my it's been my goal.
Because if I would have been like that with the day or the moment that you met me, I don't know if our friendship would have flourished the way it did, or if it would have worked out with the rest of our friends.
Yeah.
Or as far as to go as even me marrying my wife, you know,
Yeah.
because she was very introverted.
Yeah.
And she's the kind of person that was like, she has friends that bring out her extrovertness, right? They balance her out. So even when her and I met, you know, she originally thought like, oh, he's really reserved. He's kind of like really kept himself. Like, I don't know if that would ever even work out.
Yeah.
But the more I was able to be myself around y'all, I feel like everyone then realized, okay, like, he's outspoken, he's opinionated, you know. Like, everyone thought for the longest time that I wasn't the Enneagram 9, you know, because I was like that because I didn't have a filter with certain things,
Right.
you know, so I was able to be more outspoken or whatever. But like, I feel like that helped a lot. And not to put anyone on blast necessarily, but if anything, I would say, like, if I could recommend anyone, would be to work on like your social skills, you know.
Yeah.
and trying, because everyone's gonna have awkward moments, but I feel like it's something that you can get past.
Yeah, I think, okay, so I think about it like this. I think about it in the sense of, okay, so I'm very extroverted. In the last year, I would say that I've had to work on my interactions a lot more, because I can be a bit much, and I've recognized that. I can be
Really?
a bit, yeah, really. I know I can be a bit much in certain circumstances and situations, so I've had to learn how to
Tone it down.
yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
Because I mean, I don't want to seem as much. I don't want to seem as too out there. You know what I mean? I want to be approachable, as well as outgoing and fun and knowledgeable and all that other kind of things that you know come my way. But when meeting people and stuff like that, I want to be chill now, because I don't want to be like, yo, Christian's a bit much. I don't know if I want to hang out with him.
Well, because there's a balance with that too. Like, it's, for me growing up, it's always been about like, excuse me, it's LaCroix.
Yeah. The bubbles.
For me growing up, it's always been like, the phrase has always been, don't be weird. Just don't be weird.
Yeah.
Don't be weird. Don't make it weird. Don't be weird. Like, just chill. You know, like, don't make it weird.
Yeah.
Right. That's for people who struggle with being social. Right now, I have met people though who are extremely social, very bubbly, very out there, and for me, I can't hang out with a person like that. They're way too much. They're just way too hyped all the time.
Yeah, no,
like, it's like they're on caffeine, like all day. That's how it looks like, you know. And it's like they need to like calm down, you know. Like, not everything has to be super exciting, like top of the hill kind of like, you know, moments, you know. Like, just relax, like just have a chill moment. So like, I get that when you say that you've had to learn to like tone it back a little bit, because it could be too much. Yeah. Versus sometimes, like, if you are too chill, you're like, you come off as like low key as boring too. Yeah. You know, you're like, dang, bro, like, you're way too relaxed. Like, let's go do something fun. You're like, nah, it's like, let's just chill here. Let's just like not do nothing. Like, no, like, it's like there has to be balance with that. Yeah, too,
100%, 100%. No, I completely agree. And like I said, I've had to grow up in that aspect. And I mean, I think that's life, bro. I think that's life in the sense of we're never done growing, we're never done maturing, we're never done becoming who it is exactly who we're supposed to be. Yeah. It's always another level of maturity. It's always another level of growing to be who it is that God wants us to be. Right. Because bro, we age. So as right now we're aging. Yeah. You know? And then we've matured. Yeah, but we're also like learning always to be better than the day before. you know.
Yeah,
and I mean, we have our good days, we have our bad days, but and we have days where like, shoot, I don't know if I ever want to be that type of person ever again. And then there's like, man, I wish I was like that again. You know what I mean? So it's just more of like taking it day by day.
Yeah.
Growing, maturing, and becoming better in every circumstance. You know, be a little bit introvert, be a little bit extrovert, but at the end of the day, be you.
Yeah. Without having to be someone you're not.
Yes.
That's kind of like, if anything, the pod here doing this, the filming, is teaching me to be like, I don't want to be fake either.
No, of course.
I want to be me. You know,
right.
I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. You know, where I'm like super hype and like, hey, what's up, guys? You know, like welcome back. Like no, like I'm not like that. You know,
yeah.
Like I can have my funny moments, my fun moments, just like you. But it's like I don't want to be something I'm not.
No, I get that 100%.
And I think this is for sure challenging me to push past that.
Yeah.
You know, because if you are naturally a shy person who struggles to socialize, like I said, my advice for that is trying to put yourself in situations where, you know, you can
blossom.
Yeah, where you can socialize. It's like, okay, if you struggle with socializing, go to events where there's a lot of people. You know, if, for example, you want to make friends, get involved in something, you know, like obviously we talk about it from a church perspective, but it's like if you are a Christian and you want to make friends at church, get involved. You know, get connected with a group, you know, find a ministry, you know, kind of like get past those fears, you know, because like as the word says, God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind, right? So that's not supposed to be in us. And not only that, but for example, like if you want to look even deeper into that, right? We have the Holy Spirit, right?
Of course.
Which is meant to empower us, right? To preach the gospel. That's what it's, you know, one of the purposes of the Holy Spirit, right, in us, is that to empower us to be able to do that, right? To be able to overcome that fear of sharing those things, you know. Doesn't mean you have to be the most extroverted person in the world.
Of course not.
But to pray about that too, to overcome those fears of social anxiety, because people do get that. Or just being reserved, or just always kept to yourself, and just like we're meant to do fellowship. We're meant to have friends. We're meant to have fellowship with.
We're meant to be in community. I don't. Like even as a Christian, I struggle a lot with people who say that they can be a Christian without being connected to a church, because of the fact that like we're supposed to be in community. You know what I mean? Like. Not that your alone time or your relationship with the Lord is in question, but it's more of like the Lord never wanted us to be alone. And then also He wanted us to be amongst. I feel, and this is, you know, my perspective, is that He wanted us to be connected with like-minded people, who, with conversation, with relationship, allows us to be better. So for example, I've known people who, you know, oh, I'm a Christian or whatever, and but they never go to church, and it's just like, okay, you talk to God, you have a relationship with Him and things like that, but who are you connected with, man? Like who you know, fills you up when you're down, or you know, who can you talk to regarding your situations and circumstances? I mean, not that talking to God is wrong, because it's not. It's the best thing for us. But it's just like, you know, in order for us to grow, I feel like not only do we have to have a relationship with the Lord, but we have to have a relationship with others who lift us up and bring us out of those dark times, or lift us up when we're having a hard moment or things like that. So it's just like, in order for us to grow, we need to be connected with other people.
We do. We are meant for relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're part of the body of Christ.
Yeah.
And you can't be part of a body if you're separate from it.
Right.
Like we're meant to do community. You know, we're meant to be involved. We're meant to, because you can't do this alone.
Right.
I've had to learn that the hard way, that you can walk just you and Jesus alone. That's it. Not be connected to a church.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Bible says that we have to gather.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're meant to gather in a place, you know, and worship God and learn about God and His Scripture and be taught, you know, and grow in that. But I've had to learn the hard way in the sense of like, man, I thought I could do it by myself.
Yeah.
My walk with Christ, just me alone. I didn't have to be connected to a church, or if I went to a church, I didn't have to be connected. Like I didn't have to serve. I didn't have to do nothing. Like I could just be a consuming Christian, right? But like where is that gonna get me?
Nowhere.
Like not only was I not gonna grow in that manner, you know. I mean, the Bible said I'm going against what the Bible says, which it says we're all called to serve. So I'm not doing that, right? That I wouldn't have met my wife if I wasn't connected.
Right. That's good, man, because going back to a lot of the different things that we talked about in this pod is you know, being shy, that's okay, but you don't want to stay there.
No.
And then as far as being introverted and extroverted, you can learn to be a mixture of both, without changing who you are as a person.
Right.
And then 2 is three at this point is be connected, man. Be connected in your church, being connected in community.
Yeah.
You don't need to do this alone. You don't need to do life alone.
No, you don't. I think a lot of people have that misconception that, oh, like I just need to walk this by myself. You'd be surprised at the amount of people that you can meet at a group at church who are walking through the same thing that you're walking through, or who have already been through that,
or worse,
right? They've already been through worse, and they've already overcome it in Christ, and they're on the other side. You know, you don't feel alone anymore. You'd be surprised of like what could happen in your life if you just get connected.
I mean, I think about the group that that I'm in on from one of our home groups from church, and this season I chose to do classes versus be in a group, but then I was like, okay, maybe this is not enough, so I joined a group, and bro, being in this group has impacted my life so much because it's just like it was all new people versus the 2 or 3 that I had already known. And we're growing, we're praying for each other. There's been prophetic words in the group. You know, people laid hands on me the other day, and you know, like tears flowed and everything. And it's just like sometimes we just need to be connected to other people who are like-minded in the sense of loving the Lord and who want to discuss the word and things like that, and it kind of just grows us as people, and it goes back to what we've been talking about as far as like being connected in you know, being one with the body of Christ.
Being involved. That all. You're right. I agree with you on that. I was definitely challenged when it came to leading a group with you. And this last one I recently led with my wife, a young adult group. It challenged me not much more than just to socialize and connect and do community with these young adults, but it really set my heart. Like it gave me a longing for them, for the young adult ministry, you know, to be able to reach out to a lot of young adults who struggle. And a big thing there that they struggle with is community. You know, having a place where they can come together and build friendship and fellowship and learn about the Word of God. You know, and it challenged me to be able to teach. It challenged me to be able to have friendships and relationships with people, and
outside of the normal group,
outside of our little friend group again, because I continue to be challenged to meet people and to reach out, because again, it's I feel like I have that calling from God where he's kind of pulling me towards becoming a pastor. And a big thing about that is that you have to be a people person. You have to. You can't.
Because you're a shepherd, man. A pastor is a shepherd to sheep, to flock. And you're called to love on people. You're called to be there in the good times and in the bad. And you're called to teach them and to minister to them. And just to lift them up when they're down and to, be with them in joyous moments and in sad moments. And it's like, that's a tough call, man. I give it to our friends who are pastors and have been doing it for a while. More power to them. And more power to you, man, on that journey.
Yeah, well, because I mean, I get that not everyone has that gifting,
right?
But I will say that, it's something that comes from God.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily from us,
right?
Because you look at examples in the Word, like Moses, right? Who he had a speech impediment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't speak, and he felt like that was enough to disqualify him from what God was calling him to do, right? And he didn't realize that it wasn't going to come from him, though.
Yeah,
it was going to come from God, because God said it to him from the first time. It's not you that's going to be speaking. It's going to be me through you, right?
Yeah.
So to be able to do these things, like I said, going back to the what advice can we give to people who struggle with shyness, who struggle with being introvert, who struggle with just being reserved, is one, pray about it.
Yeah,
pray about it. Pray to God, the Holy Spirit, to be able to overcome those fears. Even if there's small little steps, like joining a group even when you don't know anyone. Going from having home church at your house and actually going to a church, an actual building, a temple where the saints gather, as the word says, right? To worship and be instructed in the word.
Yeah.
Taking those small steps, but it starts there. If anything, it starts with God.
Yeah, of course. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good pod.
Yeah, I mean, really, it was gonna go this way, to be honest.
Yeah, no, me neither. I mean, we
probably ramble on for sure. Probably
the
first maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, stick
if
with
anyone
it.
could get.
If you've gotten this far, thank you for sticking with us. We definitely wanted to be a little bit more lighthearted this one. I know that last pod, we were more serious and things like that.
We look so depressed in that first one. And look, to be honest, I maybe we don't. Okay, I can speak for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have as much energy as I should, right? Because it's at night. It's after a long day of work.
Yeah.
Haven't had any caffeine. But hopefully we can get into a more of a better schedule to be able to record.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, hey, you guys, it's only episode 4. Bear with us. But if you stuck with us this far, thank you guys so much for watching Lions Amongst Men podcast.
This will probably be the most awkward pod that we've recorded. But I know when I look back at it, I'm gonna cringe so bad.
Yeah, me too.
But it's all good though.
It's all good in love and joy and peace and all the good things. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. We love you guys. Hey, if you guys have any questions for us, if you guys have any ideas of what we can do on the pod, things that we could talk about, DM us. Leave a question for us in the comments. We read them, we discuss them. We just are grateful that you guys even take the time to write us. So
yeah, we're learning.
We're learning. Yeah, definitely. We're definitely learning, and we'll take into consideration everything that you guys tell us. And hey, thanks for hanging with us. Peace.